next one, and the next one's going to be our cutter choke. So I want you guys to see what I'm doing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move past his arm close to like north and south. I'm going to be completely honest. I do nothing in north and south. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. There's nothing for me there. For me, I'm never, ever going to go to north and south. I want to be on side mount. That's my personal preference. That's where I want to finish. That's where I want to get an arm bar, a choke. Everything comes from side mount. So my body's usually always underneath his arm or in this area, not up here above his shoulder, right? But for this choke, I always walk past the arm. I bring my arm under, and I'm going to reach, and I'm going to make my contact on his collar. Now, every time that I grab his collar, I'm going to start pulling, and I'm going to start pulling away from the choke. It's always coming towards me, and then the other hand's going to come around. So we'll talk about that when we get there. So watch what I'm doing. See how his arm is here? I find that if I'm underneath his arm, underneath his armpit, I'm in side mount. I don't move from here. I'm usually, this is where I'm going to be at. How do you say? But for whatever reason, I press his arm through. I go all the way over. Look at my arm goes all the way over. I sit and I go underneath the arm and I grab the collar. This is where I'm going to grab. You see where I'm at? I'm still at the collar, right at the base of the neck, right around there. And every time that I'm pulling, I'm not pushing towards him. I'm pushing towards me. I'm pulling towards me and making that contact, all right? Now, some people, or when I first learned this, I learned this from north and south, and then when you reach and get to this position, you go to side mount. You kind of like walk yourself in, and then you finish into the choke, all right? So, like I said before, there's a lot of different entries to all these chokes. I can come in here and make this contact and go here. Sometimes I get to here, and he knows what I'm about to do because I'm holding on to both of his collars. So he'll start blocking me, putting his head in the way and not letting my hand go out, or putting his hand in. And once I get here, yeah, he puts his hand there and just doesn't let my hand come all the way around. That's the whole reason that you might have 2 or 3 directions to get to this choke. I've seen people that reach up, grab this collar, then inject this bottom hand, and then finish into the choke. To me, I really don't care in which direction you go. Like this could be, this is not step 1, step 2, step 3. This is just, I need this hand on the collar, and I need this hand on the collar around his neck. That's it. The only thing that I am going to tell you is this. When I bring my hand down, sometimes I get to here, and they're really strong. I'm going to touch my elbow down on the mat, and I'm going to walk it all the way up onto his head. That's where the choke is, right? That's the only thing that changed from one instructor to the other. A lot of different instructors showed me all this gripping position and sequence. To me, the most important thing is once I make this cutter choke here, now my elbow starts reaching up underneath his armpit or up underneath his ear, and I'm wrapping him all the way around. That's going to make the tightest choke that I can possibly make. To me, that's what matters the most, all right? Does that make sense or not? So, again, I am not under the armpit. I'm over, like I'm on north and south, or closer to north and south than I am to side mount, all right? So when I grab, I can get an over-under grip underneath the arm, over the arm, whatever I want. And then I'm going to inject my hand underneath. My hand goes under. I grab the collar that's underneath his neck, all right? My hand, instead of it being underneath the arm, I'm going to walk it back, grab into position. Once I get my thumb inside, now I bring it up and around. Once I get into the neck, just remember, my elbow starts right next to the shoulder, and then it walks away, and I finish into the choke. Look what I'm doing to his head. I'm kind of walking all the way on the mat, moving his head all the way, and then finishing into the best choke that I can. Does that make sense or not? Did you catch all this? Yeah? Does that make sense or not? All right? So again, hand under, grab the collar. If you want to go on in the front, that's fine too. All right, but I'm going to get the deepest, tightest choke that I can get. Make sure I'm tight on that grip. Hand comes down to the elbow, and then where does it go? It goes up towards the head. That's where I'm finishing into the choke. Does that make sense or not? Just make sure down and around, right? Down and around. I'm pressing that head and that neck all the way around. That's where I'm finishing. Anybody have any questions here? Everybody's okay with this? Ready? Everybody together. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Let's do it.